my name is Darya Leylian, and I am presenting my React Redux project. I made a website for a pretend speech clinic where patients could go read about the clinic, their staff, and get some additional information. And if they would like, they could schedule a free consultation and contact the therapist. I am a speech-language pathologist, so the information on this free resources page, as well as the blogs, is accurate if you would like to read some more about it. In terms of the libraries I used, you could see here in my package.json, I used Redux, I used React, as well as a couple of other libraries. If we look at the overall structure of the app, we will start with index.js. Here we could see that we are setting up our entire app. We have our store, we have our router, and we're rendering app.js. If we go look at app.js, we can see we have all our imports at the top. I used map state to props, map dispatch to props, and then my class component app down here. I chose to have a different component for each different part to keep the components as small as possible. I have a header being rendered every page as well as a footer, and then this switch routing over here determines what is going to be the main view we see. I tried to write my components in such a way that the data isn't hard-coded. If we want to make a different website with the same layout but different content, we could swap out the data file and import new information. If we go look at the store, we could see that there is a data reducer right here which brings in data from these files. The data reducer looks like this. It has different data for each page, and that data looks something like this. It is an array of objects with different fields. If we make these same files with different content, follow the same format, we could just plug those in instead. Now, if we go look at our About Us page, we could see that each of these therapists was generated using, again, the same type of formula, bringing in data. And let's have a look at what that looks like. I used, again, map state to props to bring in that data, meet the team data, and use a .map method to generate that. Each one has their own modal, and if we have a look, it is personalized and says their name inside. For Flip specifically, he does group therapy, so he has an additional field over here, and that logic is found inside of the Let Us Know modal component right here, where we check if Flip is the therapist, he will get that extra line. The free resources page. Over here we have some useful information as well as blog entries. If we go look at the blog, we could see it has its own navigation at the top as well as the bottom, and comments. If we navigate away, we could see the different comments, and we can submit our own comment over here. This is going to be using the Redux store. When we hit submit, the new comment shows up here, but it has also been added to our state. Now, how does this work? Over at the store, we have a comments reducer, which looks like this. It has obviously an action creator as well as an action type for add comment, and the reducer basically uses an array that I have pre-existing here in the data with a few comments, lets you add new comments to it. We generate its own ID based on the length of how many comments we have. We give it a new date and concat it over here. One of the issues I ran into was with this reducer, where over here I called this variable and I ended up rewriting over any new comment that I added, and I wasn't able to add more than one comment. Eventually I realized I should be concating to the updated comments data, and that solved that issue. One of the biggest challenges I had in this project was making this little icon appear when we scroll down and disappear when we scroll up and we see the Jumbotron and the big logo. I found a solution for this using hooks and functional components, which meant I had to convert my header component completely into a functional component instead of a class. This was pretty tricky because it has a modal inside of it as well as the navigation bar itself, but I found a way to do it with using a modal from React Bootstrap instead of React Strap. I was able to determine how far down the page we scroll based on window page Y offset, which counts the pixels you scroll down, and use some logic here to add a class and remove a class and change its CSS properties to make it visible. This was really tricky, but also a lot of fun to solve. Thank you for viewing my project. My next project will be a project using TypeScript as well as React and React Redux. I hope you have a great day.